Hey guys, this is Julian from Benighted, and you're listening to Richard Metal Fan.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Richard Metal Fan Interviews. This is episode number 115. In today's guest, we're talking to Julian Truchan. He is the lead singer for the band Benighted, a death metal band from France. Today we're going to be talking to him about what got him into metal, as well as the history of Benighted and much, much more. So without further ado, let's go talk to Julian. Quoi de neuf les gars? Je suis Zivik avec Julian Truchan de Benighted. How are you doing today, Julian?
Well, I'm fine. I'm just finished my work I work as a nurse, and
Yeah,
I just finished my job, and I'm all ready for the interview.
yeah, in your car, I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so awesome to have you here. So kind of like the format is, I want to do like a rundown of your discography, as well as talk about like your journey as an artist from where you started to now. But I'm also curious, before we go into that, what were the first bands that got you into metal and what made you want to be a vocalist?
Well, actually, it was Cannibal Corpse, and the funny thing is that I got to the metal world by mistake, because when I was a teenager, I was a huge fan of horror movies, and with my best friend Olivier, the former Benighted guitarist, we were a huge fan of horror movies, and I found at some shop a tape of Cannibal Corpse Butchered at Birth, and I bought it because I found the cover very disgusting and funny, and I said, yeah, let's listen what kind of music we can have on this tape. And when I arrived home, I really hated it. I mean, it's the very first contact with death metal was not good for me. And I remember after that, I made it listen to all my friends, telling them that I just bought something that I didn't understand. And the singer was doing this kind of strange noises, and I couldn't see the point of doing it. And every time I made someone else listen to it, my ear could get used to the aggressivity of the sound, to what the voice was trying to do, and that's how I fall into death metal music. With Olivier, we said, okay, you know how to play guitar. I can try to make this kind of sound, and that's how I started to to be a vocalist, actually.
Awesome. And did you ever watch Ace Ventura: Pet Detective? Because that's the scene where there's a scene where Cannibal Corpse were in that, and that's pretty much how I discovered the band.
What's your question again?
Yeah, have you ever watched Ace Ventura: Pet Detective? Because I just love the scene with Cannibal Corpse in there.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a
I
classic.
watched it after I discovered Cannibal Corpse.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Now that's pretty much well, I discovered them, and then that's pretty much what made me a fan of Cannibal Corpse, and they're pretty much now one of my all-time favorite bands.
yeah.
Yeah, and so tell me about
But actually, it was a huge opportunity for them to do
yeah.
the movie.
All right. All right. Yeah, and tell me because I was doing my research. I believe your first band before Benighted was Dishumanized. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Actually, Benighted only we created Benighted only in 1998, and
Yeah.
before that, we were in high school with Olivier, and that was the name of our very first project. So it was nothing very serious, but maybe we made two shows or something like that with this band, with some other friends from the school. And when we met Lim, the other Benighted guitarist, and Fred, the first Benighted drummer, we really started to be a kind of a serious project in music, because before that we were just pure amateur and we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah, and this also year also marks 25 years of Benighted being as being a band. Did you ever think you guys would be around for 25 years?
I wouldn't have bet a coin on it. A coin on it. I mean, when we started, it was only like, like a hobby between friends, the occasion to gather on Saturday afternoon and have fun together. And actually, as we started playing some shows, we have been approached by a label pretty fast, and we had the occasion to sign under a French label very fast also, and that's where everything started to get way more serious. And that we thought that, hey, maybe we have something with this band, and we should really do something big with it.
Yeah, and tell me about like the making of the self-titled debut album. It just I was listening to it earlier. It's just very raw sounding. Where is it recorded at?
It was recorded in a very small studio close to Lyon in France. Uh, we recorded this album with our own money. I mean, we were pretty unexperienced at this time, and for us, it was already like a dream. When you have your first record done, it's like a teenager dream. So we were very happy to have your own album in your hands. The very first time, it's something very big, and we recorded everything by our own, of course. And we were not signed at this time. And when the label knew that we recorded this album in only 3 days,
Oh wow.
they signed us immediately.
Yeah, yeah. And did you like still like played locally around France on when the first album came out?
Did I what?
Yeah. Yeah. Did
What's
you play?
what was the question?
Yeah, did you still when the first album came out? Did you still played like locally around France? And then I believe your first label was called, though. Then forgive me if I butcher it, Adio Poseri the Records, which is I believe was the local label in France. How did they find Benighted?
Yeah. Actually, it's Adipose Records. At this time, it was a very big label in France. I mean, with Season of Mist, they were both of the biggest label in France. And we started to do pretty big shows, but in France only, because we started to play in other countries in Europe only in 2003 or 4, if I remember well.
Yeah. And kind of like going into the next album, Psychos, because usually with the debut album you have like your entire life to write it, but when it came to making Psychos, did you feel like pressure to follow up the self-titled?
Yeah, of course, because it was our first really produced by a label album, so we had a lot of pressure, but it was pretty easy at the end because we were rehearsing a lot and trying to work hard on it. When I listen to it nowadays, I'm like, oh my god, this is not tight at all, because at this time, we didn't record on a click or something. It was just you arrive in the studio and everyone plays his part in a very amateur way. But
Oh wow.
when I listen to it, I don't find it precise at all. But I remember all the energy we got at this time, and the pleasure and the pride we had to record it by ourselves for the first time with the help of a label. But working hard to produce something pretty professional at this time, because so it was in 2002, if I remember well.
Yeah, I know
And
that.
yeah, and we were pretty proud of it. And after that, with the album after this one, we reached a big step for being more professional.
Yeah, and I still think Psychos is a great follow up to the first album. And I noticed with Psychos, you also did a couple songs in French. I think which makes it sound fucking great. Have you ever thought about like maybe doing like in the future do like a full record in French?
I don't know. I like in every Benighted album, you have at least 2 or 3 songs in French, because I really like to write French lyrics. It's actually way more difficult than writing English, because in French, if you make simple sentences, you sound stupid immediately. So you have to work hard for it to sound very, at the same time sophisticated, aggressive, and interesting, of course. So that's a bit of a challenge to write in French. And as I really love my own language, I really enjoy doing it. And for the just for the story, every started with Insane Cephalic Production. Every song with the title of the album is written in French.
Oh
So
wow.
Insane Cephalic Production, Identisic, Icon, Asylum Cave, Carnivore Sublime, Necrobreed, all these songs are in French.
Wow. And then okay, next album, Insane Cephalic Production. I think this is a great album, and I know that next year will be the 20-year anniversary of this album. Is there a chance maybe we can get like a celebration of this somehow? Maybe do something where you play it start to finish.
I think we need to do something special for this album, because it was the very first big step in the Benighted career. Because we started to record our albums in Germany at the Color Studio, and we really reached a higher level in terms of production, quality of the songs also, and also everything about how to promote it on an international level.
Oh, well, yeah, yeah. Like songs are like Stay Brutal, and I know you did like your first video for Fotis. Like,
Yeah,
tell me about like that, making like your first ever like music video.
well, it was as everything as a first time. It was at the same time pretty exciting and pretty scary. But it was a friend of us who's actually the singer of a French band called Destiny. He offered us to help us film our very first music video, and so we recorded we filmed some stage stuff and also some acting stuff, and tried to mix it in a when I look at it right now in a very amateur way, but it had this charm of old music video, with a shitty quality, and but with this creepy spirit that I really like to see in some music video. So yeah, it was again with friends and the Benighted family and all the people around us who wants to help us. It was a very good experience and adventure to record this first music video.
Yeah, yeah. It still like holds up to this day.
Mm.
Right, and then moving on to the next album, Identisic. I think it's a great album. What was that like going from this to Identisic?
Well, Identisic, it was 2005, I think.
2006.
2000, 2006. Yeah. Well, Identisic, I think it was pretty much the logical following step to Insane Safari production. I mean, the music is almost on the same basics. Maybe the quality of the sound was improved for this album, and I think with Identisic we started to do way more because the promotion Adiposer made for Insane Safari production was even bigger on this album, and we really started to have very good offers to play in Germany, in Netherlands, in Belgium, all the countries around France, and it was pretty rare for a French band to be able to play that much outside of its own country.
Yeah. And did you like tour in America at all, or is that a little later?
No, it was way later. Way later. We only toured America, I think, 5 years ago or something for the first time.
Oh wow. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
wow. Wow, and then I still think Identisic still a great album. I always consider it almost kind of like a little bit kind of melodic, especially in like the guitar work, where again,
Mhm.
especially like the harmonies and stuff, and the riffs are just great. Like the one thing I note is just like the riffs. Like I think Benighted is one of those bands that has like new riffs upon new riffs every time. You never like reuse anything.
I think we pay attention to evolve with from an album to another, and always try to be surprising, because I think nowadays the one of the most important things, if you want to stay in the game, it's to be able to surprise your fan and bring them new stuff, and to keep it interesting, of course, and not release the same album over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 you just want to try to evolve. You don't want to like rehash the stuff because otherwise people will get bored of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next album, Icon, a very quick turnaround from Identisic to Icon, since it was released like a year later. Did you started writing for Icon right after Identisic was released?
Yeah, exactly. And there was a huge change because uh, we had to stop working with our previous drummer, and that's the first time we welcomed Kevin Foley at the drums in Benighted for this new album. And we also the big change was also that for this album we signed on Osmos Production. Osmos Production we already released albums from Impel Nazarene, Vital Remains, Marduk, Immortal, and for us it was really a big thing to sign on Osmos Production. And also Kevin Foley, the drummer that we kept for I don't know, 8 years or something in Benighted. He helped the band to reach a way higher level in brutality, because he was playing drums so fucking fast and
Yeah.
with so much groovy parts. So at the same time, I mean, he really helped us to reach uh, a bigger level. And yeah, I think with Icon, it was a new maybe a new musical orientation for Benighted as well, because it was becoming way more grindcore than death metal.
Yeah.
I would say that's the musical change between both of those albums. And yeah, I'm very very proud of Icon. I really love these albums, and we still play a lot of songs from it.
Yeah, especially I love like you did like that little intro complete is saying you in nation. Shouldn't it just like
Yeah,
very just to the point, like, why are you so brutal to me? And it just goes slut and it goes right into the song
yeah,
slut. Like it's just like to the point, no, just very blunt. It's just wow.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course following up you got Asylum Cave. There was like I noticed there was like a 4 year gap between this album and this. I guess did you really just wanted to like hone in your craft with going into Asylum Cave?
Well, the first thing I would say is that we had a lot of shows to promote Icon. We were touring a lot, and we needed to find some time to release Asylum Cave. And Asylum Cave is also, I think, with Asylum Cave we really established the identity of Benighted the way it is now. I mean, Asylum Cave on the musical level is, I think, the biggest step in the Benighted career, with songs that are still like hymns for us, like "Let the Blood Spill Between My Broken Teeth," or the title "Asylum Cave" as well.
Mm.
And that was also our first album on Season of Mist.
Yeah, and how did they find you guys?
Well, they offered us to sign us. Actually, we didn't reach them or know the labels, because we were pretty happy with Osmos Production. But when Season of Mist came to us to offer us a label deal, we talked with Hervé, the boss of Osmos Production, and Hervé told us, "Yeah, for your career, really, I understand if you want to leave and go with Season of Mist, because they are a huge opportunity for you, and I totally understand." So that's how we did it.
Yeah, and I'm always curious about like the first song. There's like a sampled intro in like the first 10 seconds. Where did that sample come from?
Yeah. We made this intro. Uh, I think it was at the Colokia studio. Cola, the guy from the studio, he has this musical bank, with a lot of good and bad and bad music, and we wanted to make something funny and surprising. That's why the intro is actually the clock of the main character of the story behind Asylum Cave. And it's the clock when you wake up, you have the ring of your clock waking you up, and then you have all these stupid musics after that, and you try to stop it, but it's still dark and you cannot find it. And when you find it, the first song starts, and it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, and this is just an ass beater just from beginning to end.
Yeah, we try to keep the things intense. Our albums are never very long, but we try to keep it intense from the first note to the last one.
Yeah, just no bullshit. Just get right to the point.
Yeah, definitely. That's the spirit.
All right, and then next up we got Carnivore Sublime. Another great album. I know that next year will also be the 10-year anniversary of this album. So, what was kind of like the mind frame going into making this album?
Well, we had there was something pretty important for this new album. It's that the main composer of the album, Lim, he left the band in 2012, and we found a new guitarist who was also a very good songwriter. So the orientation of Carnival Sublime, I would say, it was more with the hardcore vibes that Asylum Cave was. It was pretty new for us to play that much of hardcore riffs, but which fits perfectly with the Benighted style. And we did it actually without any pressure, because when we started rehearse together, we were very satisfied from the beginning about the new stuff that we were writing. So Carnival Sublime, I think, yeah, it was I think logical following album after Asylum Cave. And the funny thing about it is that we had troubles with the cover, because on the cover you can see a nipple,
Yeah.
and we didn't think it would be that much of a big deal. But
Yeah.
on our Facebook page, for example, we have received many how can I say that, many warnings about this. And on the very day the album was released, our Facebook page got deleted because of that.
Man, damn, and I had to like,
So it was at the same time.
yeah, and I had to hold this right
It
here,
was at
so
the
I have,
same time very shitty.
yeah, I gotta hold it like this, so
You have
like
to
that
hide
way I
it, yeah.
don't so that YouTube doesn't take down this fucking video. No, but also like,
Yeah,
also
yeah.
like there's like the back of the booklet, which is just, this is just like the more brutal
Yeah,
version.
but and the funny thing is that you can also see the nipple, but as it's covered with blood, it's not that much of a big deal for this one.
Mm.
It's way more disgusting, but we had troubles with the clean cover, not the dirty one.
Oh wow. Wow, so they don't so that they don't have the problem with this, but with this, like that's just hilarious. Like it doesn't even make any
Yeah,
sense.
definitely, yeah, no sense at all.
Yeah, yeah, and I just think just like I think like your voice just like I think I've said I think with every album I just think like you just have like almost like different like diverse voice. You could do like the really low guttural stuff and then like really just insane like high stuff and just weird kind of stuff. It's stuff in a good way, of course. I just think like you, in my opinion, I think you're one of the most underrated death metal vocalists ever. You could do like some really sick shit.
Thank you so much, man. I do my best to keep the vocals in Benighted with a lot of variation, and it has to be at the same time powerful and and very varied. But on every album, I try to find new ways to push my throat, and some other new kind of vocals to have every album to have its own identity also in vocals. And that's a kind of a challenge for me every time, but I really love it. And for the next album, you will have new voices as well, but I never used in the past.
Yeah, and then kind of going into Necrobead, a really great album. I also love the album artwork is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like who did the album artwork?
Yeah, I love it as well. It's Gary Ronaldson from Ireland who made it, and I think it's one of my favorite cover in all of our albums. I really love this one, the Necrobreed one. It's creepy, and it's a perfect it's the perfect symbol of the story I wanted to explain in the album.
Yeah,
And yeah, about Necrobreed, we had a lineup change again.
yeah,
And the main guitarist for this album is Emmanuel, who's still now the main writer in Benighted, the main composer. And the Necrobreed, I think it was we didn't want to have the sound of this album like clear and massive, like on Carnival Sublime, for example. We really wanted to have more of a how can I say that, aggressive and dirty sound, because the tracks were more, okay, so that were more creepy, creepier, and we needed some kind a dirtier sound to come along with the style of the new tracks.
yeah,
It fitted way better with a disgusting sound, because the songs were very disgusting as well.
yeah. And I just love this album. I just love how it has like that intro, "Hush, Little Baby." It's just really sick intro. Also very
Mhm.
creepy sounding, and I love like the title track, which is a very short song, just right to the point. And I also love how on this
Yeah.
album you got Trevor from the Black Dahlia murder, rest in peace, on I believe it was "Forgive Me, Father." How'd you hook up with Trevor?
Yeah. Well, we recorded the Necrobreed right after our tour with the Black Dahlia Murder. And Trevor was such a nice person, and at the same time so humble and so talented. For me, it was a huge honor to tour with them, and we became friends very fast, because he's such a, I mean, he was a great person. And after the tour, it was kind of logical, but I asked him, "Hey man, let's, as we share so many great times on this tour, let's do something on the song. And of course, he immediately accepted, and it was a huge honor for me to write lyrics and find some vocal parts to share with my brother. Of course, I still think of him a lot, and it's such a pity that he's not among us anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, just rest in peace, Trevor. I remember meeting him like about almost a year ago. And that was the last time I ever got to see him. And I remember trying to tell him wanted him to do an interview, and it sadly it'll never happen. But I remember I told him he was like really interested, but it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, kind of moving forward, I know in between Necrobeat and of course the last album, Obscene Repression, you did like a little EP, Dogs Always Bite Harder Than Their Master. I think it's a pretty good EP, and usually when a band does an EP, I almost consider it kind of like like a video game reference. I would make it kind of a side quest. Was that something to hold people over while we before you did Obscene Repression?
Well, actually, we never recorded EPs because I'm not really interested in I'm not really interested in EPs at all on a personal level. But we had our 20 years anniversary at this time, and we wanted to celebrate it with some new songs and live stuff. To make something pretty original outside of the Benighted discography, and that's why we released this EP, where you can find also some tracks from our 20 years anniversary show in Lyon, some live stuff from this show, and I think it was 3 new tracks and the Advocates cover for Slaughter of the Soul, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. And what made you guys to cover At the Gates? Because it's fucking made it sounded even more brutal.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But I love this song so much. It means so much for me. This album, Slaughter of the Soul, it never gets old. I
Yeah,
love it. It's fantastic. It's a
yeah,
fantastic album.
yeah. I agree. I remember I actually saw them and played that album in full in Vegas in August last year, and that was probably much a sick show.
Mm. I imagine that you are lucky because I never saw the tour they made for this album, and I would have loved to.
Yeah, yeah, but just like I love all like the live stuff. I feel like you guys even sound great, just as great live as you do on CD. And I've yet to see you guys live. I'm hoping to eventually.
I hope so. Next year probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course the most recent album, Obscene Repressed. I love this album. Definitely one of my favorite albums of 2020. Like just like another great sick album artwork. Just like one thing I love about you guys is like you definitely have sick album artworks, but hey, death metal is supposed to be like sick and grotesque and gory.
Yeah. Well, Obscene Repressed, for now, it's my all-time favorite albums in our career. I mean, the cover that made we asked Robert, the tattoo artist from Hungary, which is his company is called Grind Design. He's an amazing tattoo artist, and he makes great artworks for cover and for shirts. And we really wanted to work with him for this new album, and we will work with him again for the next album also. And well, he tattooed my hand also. You can see it's actually the mouth of the. I don't know if you see it pretty well, but it's
Yeah.
actually the mouth of the boy
Wow.
you can see on the cover. And yeah, Obscene Repressed. Everything. I'm satisfied with everything on this album.
Yeah.
I mean, the quality of the songs, the sound, the cover, everything is very coherent and efficient and powerful. So and the only bad point on this album is when we released it, because
Because
when you release it the very day the COVID pandemic starts, it's
yeah.
really a very bad idea for your promotion.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just so weird timing. I mean, because I know some bands like did like albums like even like back in like 2018 or 19. And I feel like they almost kind of like predicted like the pandemic in a way, which kind of gives you just chills.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course I know like in 2021 you did like a little single called A Personified Evil. I just think it's a really great song. Was that sort of like a something to like hold fans over, or is that for we wait for the next album, or is that kind of like what represents like the next Benighted album?
Oh no, I don't think it will represent the next Benighted album. I mean, we didn't write this song in this spirit. Just in the pandemic, we wanted to keep writing new stuff and offering our fans new stuff. And as we play music, we prefer to to propose them new tracks, waiting for a new album, and help them to be patient until the new album. Because at this time we had no idea how we would be able to tour again, and if we could actually tour again one day. So it was a way to help people stay patient for a new Benighted album and keep them entertained at the same time.
Yeah. And sort of like in the end to kind of wrap things up, what's the status for the next Benighted album? What's the progress with that?
Well, for now we have something like 6 songs ready, and I think we will record it probably in summer or in the next autumn for an album beginning of next year.
Yeah. Awesome. So before we go, I just want to thank you for this interview. There's just anything else with Benighted Night you'd like to plug? I know highlighted in terms of tours and stuff. I'm hoping you guys will come back to the States eventually. I need to see you guys.
But actually, we really hope to come back to the States, and we will work on an American tour next year, because it's already 3 years we didn't tour the States, and we can't wait to come back, because we had such a great audience every night, and it's a pleasure to tour there. And we are working this year. We have a European tour with Arcspire, Psychroptic, and Enteos. And next year, the priority will be to tour the States again, of course.
Awesome. So everybody, Julian from Benighted. We'll see you next time.